Hi guys, my name is Stacey Awino and welcome to your number one motivational channel. And if it isn't, just give it time, it's gonna be in a bit. So in this video, I wanted to share my disability story. I am a person living with disability. My condition is called Blount's disease. Blount's disease kind of mimics rickets. Your legs either bow outwards or inwards, but it's not as a result of lack of vitamin D. It is a congenital condition, meaning the person who has it was born with it, which is what happened in my case. So before I continue, I'd just like to give a bit of a disclaimer. Most of the time when people use the word disability or handicap, the people who get offended, and with time those terms have been changed up to handicapable and so many other terms. But for me, those terms just kind of describe a limiting factor, someone who has a condition that limits them from doing certain things, and that's just about it for me. So back to my story. When I was born, I looked like I was just fine, but then my parents tell me when I started walking, I'd tell them that I'm feeling pain, but they just couldn't tell or understand where the pain was coming from. So with time my legs started bowing outwards, and of course, either people think you're bow-legged, which is kind of normal, or you lack vitamin D. So they, most of the time, people put their children out in the sun or something like that. But that did not work for me. With time, I just got worse. So what my parents did is they took me to an orthopedic doctor, and the orthopedic doctor suggested surgery, which is what they did at, I think, around the age of 7. And I had my first surgery then at Kenyatta National Hospital. But the challenge was, after the surgery, the surgeon did not give post-surgical care, which is one of the problems we have in the country. Surgeons or doctors sometimes are not really invested in the full course of treatment. Once they get paid, they're gone. And that is what happened to me. So I had surgery. Once my cast was removed, there was no further advice given on what to do to maintain the correction that had been done on my knee. So since I was a child, I went back to doing what children do. So I would play, I would go to school, and with time it just got worse and worse, and I was in so much pain. So what happened was I went from walking to crawling, but I would hide the crawling because I felt like the people who crawled were the beggars in the streets, or the handicapped beggars in the streets, not everybody. So I would hide it from everyone. So with time, I got comfortable and I let the house help see me. And then I got a little bit more comfortable. So when visitors would come, some visitors, I wouldn't hide it. And one of those visitors was my father's eldest sister. My auntie came to visit, and I let her see me crawl. And when she saw me, she spoke to my mom about it, and she was like, I did not know it got this bad. So my mom was really shocked because she did not know I was crawling, and she tells me she was so devastated, she was so heartbroken, that the very next day she went and took out her savings and bought me crutches, and she brought them to school. Now, nothing wrong with that. She was trying to help me be a bit more mobile and be in less pain. But you see, like when you have like a visual disability and you get glasses, there are about 10, 15, 20, 50 people in school, in your institution, who are wearing glasses. Your teachers could be wearing glasses, other students in your class could be wearing glasses. But physical disability sometimes is a bit different, because in a whole institution you could just find probably just one person who's physically handicapped, which was the case for me. There was no other child during my time in the school who was also physically handicapped. So when the crutches were brought to school, it was very difficult for me because I was the only child using them, and I felt like I looked so weird. So what I would do to kind of just ease the pressure a little bit off of me and the curiosity, I would let other children as well use the crutches so they would play with them. So to me, it felt like all of us here are using the crutches, but then with time I became dependent on them. and it just didn't matter anymore. The bullying didn't bother me. Okay, it did a little bit, but, or the stairs, but I needed to be able to move. So I continued using the crutches until around the age of 11, when my father was transferred to Nyeri, and he ended up finding this hospital in Narumoru. It is called Narumoru Disabled Children's Home. It is somewhat towards Nanyuki, and it is run by Italian sisters, and the surgeons come from Italy twice a year for the surgeries and consultation. So I will put a link to the home down below, so in case you know someone with a child with disability, or you have a child with disability, the earlier you seek treatment for them, the better. So I'll just link the website below in the description box, so that in case you need assistance, you can contact them and get that assistance. So anyway, I was taken there at the age of 11. So I had my surgery at the age of 11, and again at the age of 13. Then I went off to high school with 2 braces. And having 2 braces was a bit difficult because I couldn't fold my legs. They were stiff braces and they didn't have joints, so it was a bit difficult moving around in them, but I managed for a couple of years until eventually I was given a brace with a joint, and I dropped the brace for my right leg, so I was left with only one brace on my left leg, and I use that up until now. Yeah, so that was the treatment part. I'm still undergoing treatment. Actually, what happened 10 years down the line, after my last surgery, when I was about the age of 23, I was running my own business, and one day on my way to work, I was seated in a matatu, and what happened was the space between where I was seated and just somewhere there where I was putting my legs, it wasn't enough space. So I had to put my leg up a bit, and at some point the driver just swerved and my knee kind of just went like I jacked my knee and I sprained it, and I was unable to walk. I remember calling a friend of mine to come pick me up and take me home, because once I alighted I couldn't move. And I did not, being an entrepreneur, I didn't have that time to let my leg heal. I didn't have 2 weeks to just sit and put my feet up. I had to go and tend to my business. So 3 days later, I went back to work, and my leg was not fully healed. And from that time on, the pain persisted. So what I do is I just take painkillers and leave the house. And I got to a point where I became addicted on painkillers, and I couldn't leave the house without them. I had to take them every morning, which also led to me having really bad acidity issues. And eventually I managed to get treatment. I managed to go see an orthopedic doctor who suggested I do physiotherapy, and also suggested that I lose weight and have knee replacement surgery done to help with the pain and all that. So what happened was, I tried losing weight on my own. I've always been overweight. That is another story I'll share in another video. But I've always been overweight, and I was having trouble losing weight. So several doctors combined referred me to a different weight loss specialist to have weight loss surgery done, which I had done, and I've lost a couple of kilos as a result. I'm still not at my goal weight, working on it, but I'm doing well. I'm progressing very well with diet and exercise. So I did the first thing which I was told, which was lose a bit of weight to ease the pressure on my knee. I did physiotherapy, and with the physiotherapy, it is quite expensive to do physiotherapy regularly. Secondly, the locations sometimes may not be convenient. People travel long distances to get to places where they can get good physio. You can get physio done probably in so many places, but the places where maybe they have so many patients, so they rush through the session. The places where they just don't do it well, and there are places where they do it so well, but they're so expensive. So that's the challenge with physiotherapy. But I also learned to do my own physio, so I don't have to go to a therapist too often. And the next thing I was told to do is to watch my diet and exercise, and also take supplements, which I'm doing. I'm on calcium supplements among others, and I'm also watching what I eat, and I also go to the gym. The gym is convenient for me because I don't have to put too much pressure on my knee. There are workouts I can do without hurting my knee, though sometimes I do injure it, but I try to be careful not to hurt my knee because I can't go for long walks, I can't go for runs. Maybe the only other thing I can do is swim, but the challenge with swimming is convenience. Like, where can you get a pool every so often if you have a 5 days a week job? And it's just, I swim but not so often. So what's convenient for me is going to the gym, because the gym and the office proximity. So those are the things that I'm doing. I did go back to an orthopedic doctor for consultation about the knee replacement. However, I was told that my knee is too damaged to be replaced, and the replacement may not be successful. So I was told to kind of manage the condition, and yeah, for now, until we figure out what else we can do. So I I haven't been in too much pain lately. Sometimes the pain comes and goes, but other than that, I thank God that He's given me that energy to just get up and do what I need to do. My parents also never let me take my condition as something that would limit me from doing things. So I always have that mentality that I am not. I, I'm very independent. I do my own things, and even when I'm in pain, I still, unless it's really, really bad, I don't let myself just get to that point where I feel like I can't get things done. So I'm just grateful to God for giving me that spirit, and that is the reason why I share my story, because I feel like by sharing, we inspire others even without knowing, and everybody has a story, and I use mine to show other people that it doesn't matter what your situation is, you just have to know what you want from yourself, and you need to push yourself to the you know to the very end to accomplish the things that you desire to accomplish, because limiting factors are always there, and just whenever you look at them, instead of how you can push yourself to the very limit, that is where we always just fail, and we just become, basically that's when we become handicapped. So for me, that is the reason why I share my story. Other than that, I share my story to encourage other people, either those living with disability. You don't have to give up and just feel like because of your condition, you're not worth anything, or you cannot accomplish your goals. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you've seen it being done by people who sometimes you look at them and you even wonder. Like, I have seen people without limbs work out at the gym even more than some people who should be able to do that way better than them. I've seen, people who are handicapped in athletics, and succeeding very well in education and in so many other fields. So for me, sharing my story is part of motivating our group of people that we can do anything we put our mind to. And those people who have children with disability, just find a way of supporting that child. They may not excel in education, but they may have skills elsewhere, or they may be very intelligent, they just need a little extra support. But just try and figure out, because that's what my parents did. They always just looked at where your skills, where your capabilities, and that is where they put their energy, and just pushed me to do the best. And if you have people with disability around you, what I normally say is we don't need pity. Pity doesn't really add value to anyone. What we need is understanding and maybe just a bit of patience, because maybe what someone else can do fast I can do, but maybe just with a bit of extra time, or maybe with a bit of assistance. Like if it is it's a job, and maybe I can do the job, but I just need my desk to be modified, or I need my computer to have, you know, certain features or something like that. Just understanding and a bit of patience goes a long way to just help us be able to live our daily lives without, you know, with independence, and maybe with just a little bit of assistance. So I'll continue to share my story, and I'll continue to do videos on motivation, because that is what I love to do. If you love this story, or if you have someone around you who you feel like should listen to this story, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.